The most polarizing player right now for Dynasty rookie drafts is Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, the mega producer from last year. A lot of people are over the moon. A lot of people are jumping their skis. And a lot of people are jumping their skis the other way, saying that, hey, this is a bad prospect. And the fact with me is, I hate tight ends, so I'm going to give you a fair shake when we look at Tyler Warren and what I'm looking at, because I have no biases. I don't care about tight end. I just play the market and roll with it. So I'm looking at Tyler Warren today, and I found some stuff that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about because they're not looking it up. They're not looking at the prospect. They're not looking at Penn State. They're not looking at the situation. They're not studying everything when it comes to the market of college football. That will be in this video today. Before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at these rookies every day. We're helping you with your Dynasty rookie drafts. We're looking at these trades, the markets for Dynasty fantasy football. Videos every day. Just watch what you want. Whatever makes you happy. Just click that button. I don't have a Patreon like everybody else. I'm not going to take your money. I just need that button clicked. But Tyler Warren, the most polarizing player in this draft. And there's a lot of people that's pulling up to the three-point line, and they're saying, big-time prospect, big-time prospect, big-time prospect, big-time prospect, big-time prospect. And there's other people that's saying, hey, I'm not even jumping on the court with this dude. And I'm looking at him, that's a tight end. That's a tight end, and I see him getting good draft capital, and I'm just going to play the market. You already know what I'm saying. You already know how I feel. That is how I feel. But there's some stuff to look at so I can get you working on how you want to feel about Tyler Warren. Because I'm looking at him open-mindedly. Was not a big-time recruit coming out of high school. But still, we went to Penn State. We had Michigan. We had South Carolina. We had some good offers coming at us. The one thing about 24/7 Sports, and I'm the guy to say this because just look at my channel, is when it comes to updating their information, offers, height, weights, having a clear view of how these players are scouted, they are off massively. They do not update the offers, height, weight. You'll have the updated height, weight down in the scouting report. They don't update at the top. He probably got more offers than that. You're getting offers from Penn State, Michigan, South Carolina. You're probably getting more offers than that. He's probably a more sought-after prospect than what they were leading on to. Tight end 21 in the class. Looking at that whole class, looking at what he is now, looking at the length here, they probably were a little bit low on him considering Penn State, Michigan, Louisville, South Carolina was after him. Just from my guess, we're not going to dig into that. We get to Penn State. It was a slow ramp up. A slow ramp up, and we did not hit until 2024. So the big question with Tyler Warren for some folks is, why not sooner? Why not sooner? We've had competition in this offense at the tight end spot. We had Theo Johnson, very good tight end prospect. But when we look at the numbers here, 6.9 average depth of target, 7.9, 8.1, 12.9. He's got an average ADOT for a tight end, especially when you're comparing it to tight ends at the NFL level. That's usually where they're at, 6, 7-ish. That's usually where they're at. They're not getting deep shots downfield. They're right there in that cushion area of the field. Common sense when you think about watching the game. Also had 26 rushing attempts. He was used all over the place. Had a little wildcat, threw the ball a few times, ran the ball lots. This is a guy that was the offense. Him and the running backs. Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen. He was the offense. He was the big playmaker. Why is that? Why? We're going to get into that. But looking at where he went off against USC, Bowling Green, Purdue, Minnesota. Those were his 100-yard games. He has 4 of them on his career. 5 games of 80 yards plus on his career. So honestly, it's not like yardage-wise we're totally dominating in the receiving game. However, we do have some games. We're getting that rushing production. We're also getting touchdowns. We have 8 touchdowns on the season. We have 17 catches against USC and 3 8-packs against Purdue, Minnesota, and Bowling Green. However, we're steady getting catches. We are steady Eddie. We are steady. We're having moments against good schools. Ohio State, 4 catches, 47 yards. That's something to look at. Notre Dame, 6 catches, 75 yards. Boise State, 6 catches, 63 yards. So we're having our moments on the field statistically. I'll get into film review later, but we're looking at the stats. Missed tackles forced this year, 19. QB rating when targeted was always high. Always high. That's a good thing to look at. Contested catch rate, looking solid. Looking solid. You look at the tape, you can see why. You don't even need those numbers. You can see why those hands are sticky. He has those long polar bear arms. He brings those in. He's tough, and he's very smart, and he has good ball skills, considering he's a tight end, considering tight windows where he had to make moves in, and everything else. Very good up the seam. Up the seam with a backer on him. He's going to figure out how to make that catch. He has very sticky hands. 135 targets this year. That's a lot of targets for a tight end. A lot of targets. We're not used to seeing that. And that's where you're catching people going over the moon. And a lot of people will go over the moon when they're doing content because they know he's going to be a top draft pick. They know he's going to be a top draft pick. So it's easy to be over the moon on a player like that because you know draft happens. He gets drafted. He's a top pick. You know, you can just say you want it there and move on. 135 targets, 1,200 yards, 104 catches. That's lights out production. That's lights out production. We're going to get to why here in a bit. Why that ramped up from 135 to 149 in the targets, 34 balls caught to 104. There's a huge indicator for that, a massive one. We also ran a lot more routes. 442 routes ran. 442 routes ran. The thing is, too, when I pull this up, I don't look at this as a bad thing against him. Honestly, in my career, a long, long time ago, this allowed me to prosper. But a target share of 32% is elite for a wide receiver, uber elite for a tight end. It's all looking good. The thing is, he got his opportunity, he captured it. He was like B-Rabbit out there. He got his moment. He captured it. He did it. He wore mom spaghetti out there running routes. It happened, and he got it done. So if he gets his opportunity at the NFL level, which he should since he's going to be a first-round pick, odds are he's going to capture it one way, shape, or form. We'll get into that too. Where he's getting targeted, middle of the field. This guy's good up the middle of the seam. Like I can see him getting targets every game up the seam, beating backers. If a backer's on him, he's still open. He's one of those players who's open when he's being covered. He's got those long arms. Long polar bear arms is like what I want to call them because they're like pure white. They blind my eyes. His hands are very sticky. Downfield. You're not going to push this guy downfield. He's not a twitched up athlete. Not super fast. He can get you yards after the catch a little bit on some of those plays, but he's not super fast where he's going to spread out, but he's very smart recognizing coverages. He can run routes a bit, but he's not super twitched up to where it's going to be like instant separation. But over the middle, finding the seam. On the outside, doesn't matter if he's really covered, though, because if you can get in the vicinity where he makes the play, he's going to make the grab, but he's very smart. I think that's what's really the best proponent about him. Like, you can throw him all over the place. He's a former quarterback. That's one of the reasons the show said this earlier, that he was probably lighter in the recruiting process. Quarterback turned tight end. So, honestly, just knowing other positions, knowing how to work the roles, he knows that. Now we're getting into some things here. So we're looking at the 2024 targets for this team. 135 targets for Tyler Warren, 77 for Harrison Wallace. Nicholas Singleton, third on the team in targets in a part-time role at the running back position. There's a red flag to look at. Amari Evans, 38 targets. So the second wide receiver on the team, 38 targets. That's very low. 77 targets for the top wide receiver. That is something to pay attention to. That is something to pay attention to as we move on. 2023, there's different wide receivers here. What happened here? Lambert, we got Cephas. However, the big thing you want to note here, I don't see anybody talking about, but it might have been Tyler Warren, second on the team in targets. So we were ramping up to be a big part of the offense. No matter what, there was going to be an increase with Theo Johnson gone. That is the one thing we can say. There was going to be a big increase with Theo Johnson gone. That is something to look at. But I got these wide receivers marked in red. There's a reason for that, because all of them left in the transfer portal that year. right after the season. They all left. They're all gone. And the thing about that is now, looking at this, what's left for competition that has a rapport in the offense? There's not much. So when you look at scheme-wise for Penn State, and you look at Tyler Warren's manufactured touches and all that volume, and nobody really stepping up here. Sixth in targets is Harrison Wallace, the leading wide receiver on the team. I don't think they wanted him to be their leading wide receiver, but they had to make it happen. You're going to have to look somewhere else. Tyler Warren was pushing up volume. You cannot count that against him because, honestly, he took advantage of the moment. But you can also count that against him like, hey, what's he look like with true competition? What does he look like with true competition? Because honestly, when you look at the talent here, like if you put in like a Jalen Hyatt type of talent on this offense, things are looking different. Things are looking different. That being said, we don't know what kind of command he's got with a big wide receiver core. Like, is he going to steal targets from other wide receivers? Because we do not have that sample. We just don't. They all left. Remember, they all left after that year. But the funny thing is, Harrison Wallace is leaving too. The wide receivers are leaving every offseason. We're getting some more in. Connor Hudson, good luck to you, buddy. But the transfer portal is a clue to some of these players. Getting volume here, seeing some of these manufactured touches too with the screen passes, the short touches. That's an indicator that, hey, we had some gaps in this offense, and we're going to use this tight end that we like a lot. The thing is, though, he took advantage of that. He did take advantage of that. He looked good, but that's something to point out. That is something to look at to why things ramped up so drastically, but he is going to be a first-round pick. That's where he's going to mock drafts. That's what big media is saying. So you're getting first-round draft capital. You're getting opportunity. There's a chance we go to the Jets. If he's in the Jets offense with a guy like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, maybe some other playmakers there that end up being there, is he going to be able to carve out a large enough role for him to be valuable enough for you to draft in the first round, even in tight end premium? That is the question. Because the thing about him being a first rounder, though, very smart player, good to be on the field, good to be playing all different roles, good blocking, good at stretching the seam there over the middle. We saw that. What they're saying at PFF, not twitched up, not a flexible athlete. I will definitely say this. He's a very smart player. I think he's going to be on the field quick wherever he goes. I think he's going to be an asset. I think he's going to be running routes. I think he's going to be getting opportunity if you're looking for that. I think if you're really up here or down here, I think you're totally wrong, and I think you need to be like right here with them, and I think you need to watch the situation and watch that play out. Coming out of high school, the numbers said he wasn't twitched up. We're not running at the combine. That's another indicator that he's saying that he's not twitched up. You go watch the film, he's not twitched up. That might generate separation issues at the NFL level, but I'm not too worried about that. He's a player that's open when he's covered because he's got strong hands. He's got very good hands. He's very good at reading the ball into his hands, good ball skills, very strong player, a guy that you can move around. I think when you're talking about fantasy football, that's a totally different story. He is going to be a guy that's going to be very situation dependent. That is what I'm worried about. I could definitely see that happening. The right quarterback, if he goes with a quarterback that peppers the tight end, that likes the tight end, he'd be awesome with Dak Prescott. He'd be money with Dak Prescott. That is the perfect tight end for Dak Prescott. That is the perfect guy. That is the guy that if he somehow fell or if they wanted to trade up, that would be a huge difference maker for this team because honestly, they're able to rack up yards with suboptimal tight ends. And it's a system for tight ends. Imagine if they had a good tight. That would be the perfect tight end for that system in Dak Prescott. Like if he got with the right quarterback that peppers tight ends, that looks at tight ends, he's going to be money. He's going to be money. So the naysayers are going to be wrong on that. What the upside guys are missing out is how he got the opportunity and how he got the workload. And then also when you watch him on tape, it's not like he's Brock Bowers. So if he's getting sold to you like he's Brock Bowers by a content creator, it's buyer beware. Buyer beware on that. He's a good prospect. I like him for what he is, and I'm going to watch him for what he is. And if you really want recommendations for rookie drafts, this is what I'm going to say. It's going to be really dependent on your values at the running back position and at wide receiver. When you start feeling that ick at running back, like you're done with the top running backs, you don't like the other top running back or something, you got that ick, it's on you, you don't feel it, and he's there, and it's tight end premium, you're good. You're good. Simple. Simple, huh? Simple. Like I'm not overselling it. That's common sense. On top of that, not tight end premium, pretty much the same thing because he's going to have top tier draft capital. He's going to get opportunity. Watch the situation. Just think that out. It sometimes takes some of these tight ends a few years to develop. And also, it's a deep tight end class. So you're going to catch tight ends in the second round. So you may want to just draft the running back anyways. Maybe get Elijah Arroyo or something like that in the second round if you're really FOMOing over tight end. Also, don't let tight ends FOMO you. Just don't do that. Don't try and chase those Jimmy Grahams. I've seen a lot of people burn their picks on fire due to that. I've seen that happen. Just let it come to you. Let the tight ends come to you. Take them at value. Sometimes it's just better to get them a little bit cheaper. And if you get a Brock Bowers, which is like once of a decade or so type of deal, that's when you go all in. The production will say it. You'll know it when they're a freshman in college. You'll know that right off the rip. You'll know that right off the rip. There will be no questions. Nobody was naysaying Brock Bowers. You're not going to have guys here, guys here. That's when you'll actually know. However, pretty calm, quiet, and collected with Tyler Warren here, just watching the market, watching the running backs, and then I'm making my moves. How you playing them? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.